Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. It's the day after Chelsea have beaten Leicester 1-0 at Stamford Bridge, and I'm seeing mixed responses to the game. I'm seeing a lot of people like myself who are like, well, we've won again. Wasn't the best performance, but 3 points, we move and we try and build upon the excitement, the entertainment, the performances when we go into other matches. Chelsea right now, we needed to put to bed that dreadful run from just before Christmas up until quite recently, where now we've managed to win 3 games in a row. And Enzo Maresca has had his say, and I'm going to call it calling out Chelsea fans here, because look, at the moment, right, there is still a divide in the Chelsea fan base. Obviously, winning 3 matches in a row kind of hushes the noise about protests a little bit. When Chelsea are winning, the noise isn't going to be as loud. And I will make sure that I sit here on the channel and still explain to you that win, lose or draw, we're not all talking about the results. It's not about Chelsea going on a bad run and we don't like the results, so therefore there was a protest. It's about the longevity. It's about what the ownership are actually going to do to make sure that instead of having 2-month spells where our season capitulates, we can actually run the cause. And that is all going to depend on whether or not these owners actually decide they want to change the way that they operate and run Chelsea. Bring in the experience, bring in the leaders. Don't just go out there and buy 16, 17, 18-year-olds. We have got to find a middle ground if we are to be successful. And Enzo Maresca's comments, we're going to read them out now, and I want to discuss today. Enzo Maresca on the atmosphere at Stamford Bridge. Is it different here compared to everywhere else? For sure. But in the moment, we can hear our fans. It is so nice. Away, they are loud, but even at home sometimes. I completely understand when there is a negative feeling. But today, how many chances did we create first half? On the way back from Copenhagen, the staff, we were watching Leicester games at 2 in the morning. First things first, all right? I don't care what time you go to bed. I care about the results on the pitch. Chelsea fans don't need to hear how much research you've been doing on Leicester City, a team that can't really buy a win for love nor money in the Premier League. What Chelsea fans want to see is the team constantly winning on the pitch, yes, but we would like a little bit of style, I think. And when it comes to the atmosphere inside Stamford Bridge, when we're kind of passing side to side and the build-up is very, you know what I mean? Like if I spoke like that for the whole video, you guys are out the door. There's plenty of other Chelsea creators out there. If we're doing the same things over and over again, and it does seem a bit mundane, pedestrian, boring to watch, whatever, it's not easy to keep the fans on their feet making a noise, particularly when we're also dealing with the inflation of ticket prices at Chelsea. And look, I'm not going to say that someone who spends in excess of £1,000 in a ticket doesn't have a voice box. It's not true. But the likelihood is, at the moment, the atmosphere at Stamford Bridge, not just now, this has been happening for years and years and years. So many of the Chelsea fans that would be there singing are no longer there because they're getting priced out of tickets at the game. So when we have got the Matthew Harding lower, the Matthew Harding upper, always making noise, probably more so the lower, then you've got the shed end, but half of the shed end is taken up by away fans. If Enzo Maresca is calling on Chelsea fans to keep making a noise, then he should be looking at the people above him at the club to say, well, why don't we stick the away fans somewhere else? The only problem is Chelsea can't do that because we've got a small stadium and we need to increase the price of tickets to be able to compete with the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham. But the ridiculous thing is that the price of some of these tickets is absolutely outrageous. Nobody in their right mind should have to pay for a month's salary to be able to afford a ticket to watch a 90-minute Chelsea home game, particularly when the football ain't exactly golden balls either, is it? Let's be real. So there's a lot at stake here for Maresca because this is a great time to try and rally the fans, to try and demand more noise. But at the same time, there's a lot of us fans that can actually see right through all of this. And if anything, we should be focusing the attention at the top Why is it that the two biggest stands in the stadium cost so much money to go in? Yes, there's a load of tourists everywhere, but at the same time, why don't we just stick the flipping away fans somewhere else? There's a lot of balancing that needs to be done. But when Maresca's coming out and saying all of this, we've got to stick up for Chelsea fans, to be honest, because a lot of people that would be wanting to make a noise are priced out of the stadium. And as well as that, Stamford Bridge isn't really utilised to be able to make a load of noise. I remember years ago, Champions League night, Stamford Bridge could be an absolute cauldron, big games. Stamford Bridge is always up for it, but we are seeing that diminish year by year by year. So at the moment, when the football isn't exactly the most entertaining, and I want to back it up by reading out this comment as well regarding Enzo Fernandez. Maresca was asked about the fans moaning when Enzo had a chance to pass forward but went back. Fernandez knows if he doesn't pass back, I will change him. If keeper plays long, I'll change him. This slow, lethargic lack of urgency Chelsea play with comes from the manager. That is the opinion of CFC Zeno. But I actually think it's relatively accurate. I can absolutely agree with the sentiment and statement here because sometimes this lack of energy in this Chelsea team is alarming. For a team of such young players, youthful, spriteful footballers, that when you look at the profiles of a lot of them, you'd expect them to be a little bit more enthusiastic out there. But Maresca is the one holding them back. And look, if you're going to call out the fans are probably going to call out you as well. And Maresca's doing all right. He's fourth in the league. We've won 3 matches in a row. So I'm not going to come here calling for his head right now. Absolutely not. But I think you've got to be careful. When you're calling out Chelsea fans because of the atmosphere, but the people that are employing you are pricing most of us out the stadium every single week, that's a problem in itself. And if you are playing this very boring football style, that's also a problem. All of these things go hand in hand, right? So, Chelsea fans, I'll keep saying what I've said the whole time. Make noise inside of Stamford Bridge. Support the team. Support these players. Because they're not the ones that have been giving them stupidly long contracts. They're not the ones in the ownership box deciding that all we want to do is buy 17, 18-year-olds and not buy leaders of experience. The team deserve our support. I've said this from the moment that I turned against the board, and I will keep saying it now. But we also must keep the pressure on making sure change happens at Chelsea Football Club, because so far doesn't look like it's going to, with a big summer ahead of us. Champions League or no Champions League, this summer is absolutely key for Chelsea Football Club. And what we're seeing at the moment is that Chelsea are readying themselves for a summer transfer raid on highly rated Spain under-21 international Jeremy Hernandez. The Blues have registered a firm interest in the talented 22-year-old. First things first, right? Nico Williams, great player, available this summer. Chelsea, we don't need another winger who's not quite ready to blow players away, who isn't quite ready yet to run at players. And look, Jeremy Hernandez, after we spoke about him in January, did a bit of research. Man looks confident. Man looks quick. Skillful. But at the same time, we're hearing these stories again. Youngster, 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 youngster. And if Chelsea do want to be taken seriously, and the players that we've got at the club, they need support. We need leadership around us. Look at the bench that we had against Leicester yesterday. We're talking about someone, Genesis Antwi. I'd never even heard of the young lad. No offence to him, but he's a flipping Swedish right back who's 17 years old, never played for Chelsea before, thrown in on the bench in the Premier League. We need experience in this team, I'm telling you. It's absolutely essential moving forward. And the final thing I want to discuss today is Cole Palmer. Enzo Maresca says that Cole Palmer had diarrhea and a fever last night. Well, I tell you what, from my own personal experience, particularly living in Southeast Asia, there ain't nothing worse than diarrhea. It ruins your energy, ruins your mood. And quite frankly, the last thing I'd want to do is be pegging it and legging it around a flipping football pitch all afternoon. So, I'm letting Palmer off. I know I gave him a red box yesterday. And look, the longer it goes on, the more an issue his form and not scoring, not getting assists is going to be. All top players go through spells where they're not at their best. And I know that we've probably all grown up in this Messi, Ronaldo era where they didn't ever seem to be human. They didn't ever seem to have faltering weeks or months of performances. Cole Palmer is still an elite footballer. Don't rule him off. I've seen so many comments, people saying, nah, just sell him. He's not very good. It was a purple patch. I'm telling you, absolute nonsense. Keep backing him. He's the best player that we've got going forward at Chelsea Football Club. And look, Cucurella, Caicedo, unreal yesterday. Enzo Fernandez, unreal. We need to build upon that. We need to get quicker, and then Maresca will get the response he wants from Chelsea fans. I promise you, entertain will be louder. Keep winning will be louder. That's the way that football flipping works. But anyway, your thoughts on Maresca's comments in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to more GBFC. I posted a sick video today where I talk about Frank Lampard as a manager. It's kind of more like a scripted-esque kind of video, but it's not actually scripted because I love to do it all off the cuff. I'd love it if you check that out. Link in the description to more GBFC. Come on, you Blues.